Hello and welcome to the Nurse Friends channel. My name is Eunice Mathis, and as you are aware, I've been a nurse now for a couple of years. And today we're going to be interviewing Tracy. Tracy's been one of my nurse friends and buddies for a few years now, and Tracy has a wonderful story, a remarkable journey. And I just want to give her a few moments to introduce herself. So welcome, Tracy.
Thank you for having me, Eunice. My name is Tracy Henderson, and I am a registered nurse at this time. I've been a registered nurse for about 7 years. Prior to that, I was a LPN, medical assistant, CNA, all that good stuff. So in the medical field now for about 25 years.
That is wonderful. And Tracy and I worked together, and I used to always get in trouble. She would be that one person who always, had a smile on her face, tried to keep me out of trouble, even though, trouble just seemed to find me. So I really enjoyed the time that we worked together. And as of, lately, I saw a post on Facebook and I was really surprised by the post, but I was also surprised about how transparent you were. And then, I'm going to allow you to tell your own story. But what I can also say is that you are so encouraging. And, I know you may have good days and bad days, but you just never let us see that. So, Tracy, would you please tell us about your current diagnosis? And I'll ask you a few questions as we go. Mainly, how did you find out about your diagnosis?
Okay. I have breast cancer, stage 3. One day in August, late August, I was just, I was doing medical review, working maybe not about 9 hours, and I felt that my shirt was crooked. My bra was like crooked sometimes. So I went to adjust my bra, a breast in my shirt, and I found the lump. And immediately when I found that lump, I thought, this is the lump that as women, we always hear about. So all these thoughts immediately went through my mind. I called my gynecologist, and she got me right in and, went for a sonogram and all that good stuff. And it's scary when you get a call back the same day. Normally your doctor's office takes weeks to call you, but immediately I got a call back within a couple of hours of leaving the doctor's office. And they say, that there's concern that this may be cancer. The radiologist wants you to go for a biopsy. And so I went for my biopsy on 9/11. I'll never forget that day. And again, I think it may have been a Friday, but by that Monday, I got a call confirming that I did have breast cancer.
Well, thank you again for sharing your story. And I'm just going to read my little questions here. It says, we've always heard about caregivers being some of the worst patients. So what is it like being a nurse who's also a patient? Can you tell us your experiences?
I would say, I'll just say this, initially going into any medical situation, whether it's for myself, a family member, a friend, I never let people know that I'm a nurse, because I would like to see how they're going to treat the patient just as a human. Because typically, if they know you're a nurse, you may get, or in the medical field, you may get different treatment, but I want to see the genuineness of them. So, unless they read my file and they see it, but a lot of times they don't, read it unless you, and certain things kind of alert them that you are in the medical field. But I would say that I'm a good patient. Again, I was blown away by the diagnosis, and when you get cancer, it's a cancer diagnosis, it's totally different. So everything just hit me so fast. So I was literally in a daze for like months, just going through the process, because you're told to do this. And it's like, maybe after about 3 months, my mind snapped back on, and you really have to start going and doing research for yourself. Granted, I have a very good medical team, but you still have to do your own research. So I would say it's been a good experience, and I'm a good patient.
Yes, and I try to do the same. I do not let others know I'm a nurse. And from the encounters I've had with healthcare professionals, I've received some great treatment without them knowing I was a nurse. So, and thank you for being a great patient. All right. So, and you kind of alluded to this already. How has it been physically, emotionally, just mentally, going through the treatment, and what type of treatment are you currently? What's your treatment plan right now?
My treatment plan, I'll just say the whole process is about a year, if not a little bit longer. And that's overwhelming it is in itself, because most of the time as nurses or as a woman, you're kind of that person that likes to be in control. So you like to know what's going on. So my process is for the first, I had 6 rounds of a harsh chemo. I had 6 treatments every six weeks. Oh, I'm sorry. I would have 1 treatment every 3 weeks. And I did that for 6 cycles. Now I'm on what you would call a maintenance regimen, a cocktail of 2 medicines. And I get that same medicine every 3 weeks up until October, which would be like a year out from like the kind of diagnosis and when I started. The medicine I'm on now, they kind of call it chemo, but it's kind of a little bit different, but it's just easier to say chemo. But it basically stops any other cells from growing. The first cocktail I had killed the cancer cells, basically. So initially, even after my first treatment of the chemo, it shrunk my mass. And so definitely know that that was the right cocktail. So basically, it was that 6 cycles of chemo, then it was surgery to remove the breast cancer, the lump itself, and then again continue on with, I would say, the maintenance chemo to kill any excess cells. And then now it's radiation. So I have to go to radiations for 33 cycles, which is about 7 weeks. And then after that, it's some more surgery. Basically, it's reconstruction surgery. And then there's other stuff that they found along with your PET scan. So there's so much.
So a lot of monitoring, and you're talking about how just taxing this whole process is. So
Yes.
even though you're almost approaching 9 months or so, we still have a process to go. It's still a ways to go.
Right.
Was this a familiar cancer? Like, are there other family members who have cancer?
No, it was not a familiar cancer. Not at all. I actually happened to have a cousin that recently got diagnosed after I did. Also, her stage is like 3 to 4, but her cancer is different. My BRCA testing came back negative for gene. And, again, with research, and they say 1 in 8 women will have breast cancer. And unfortunately, a lot of times with African American, we get rapid growing fast breast cancer, which the breast cancer that I have actually had already spread to my lymph nodes. So that's why my treatment plan is so aggressive.
Yes, yes. What about your healthcare providers? My stepmom, I call her my mom, but my mom had breast cancer, and she's been in remission now for a few years. And she's also a nurse. So she told me some of the stories about either the patients who motivated her, or one of her actual nurses, her oncology nurses, who took care of her, actually passed from having breast cancer. So are there any healthcare workers that you want to, recognize right now, who's just, stands out as someone who really motivated you to fight this journey?
Well, I would say none in particular, but my entire medical team, they are so awesome. And from the beginning, they tell you, hey, this is what you can do. How you do it is up to you. It's your choice, but these are your options. And that was a wonderful part about it. So I give hats off to my entire medical team, which I go to Cancer Specialists of North Florida. But they're really, really awesome. And I mean, I've heard other people with horror stories, and and that's one of my reasons for being transparent, because I don't want anybody to ever feel like they have to go through this journey alone. You hear horror stories about cancer, all you hear is it's bad, and it is bad, but mentally saying that you can do it, that you can get through it, is half the battle. The treatment itself is very, very harsh. You're literally lay in the bed in the fetal position for weeks at a time, so I won't kid you and say it's not bad. It is bad. But with support and willpower and a mindset, you can get through it. So yes, I just shout out to my entire medical team. And there was a lot of ladies, once they found out, they saw that I had cancer, just family, friends, papa, sisters, church members, or even if, say for instance, you even yourself offer, say, hey, I can't say that I had cancer, but my family member did. You can talk to them. And those women that were so willing to talk to me and share my story really helped, because they helped me to kind of see, again, being that control freak person that's always ahead of things, that's over things. I had no idea. I'm a nurse, but I had no dealings with cancer or cancer patients. So I had no idea what to expect. So them telling me, hey, this is the process, this is what I had to do, that kind of helped with everything, helped along the way, because I at least had an idea of what was coming.
Okay. And now, speaking of the support groups, what would you recommend to someone who may be, fighting cancer alone, or they may have just gotten a recent diagnosis and they don't have the support of the family, friends, and or church members? What would you recommend to them?
I will recommend to them, of course, everybody's not on Facebook, but there are some awesome cancer groups. Whether you're on Facebook, there are, and then it's probably, I'm sure, some other cancer society groups that's not on Facebook. I would recommend them calling the Cancer Society, if they're not on Facebook, and they probably can put them into a network of people. That was very helpful to me, but at the same time, it can be overwhelming when you see the stories and you see the different ages, and it's just, that can be overwhelming. So depending on the person's mindset is to where I would direct them to.
Okay. Okay.
And I would like to say I'm always here to talk to any woman or any man, anybody, because I would never want anybody to go through this alone. And so many times, when you say I was transparent, because you may have never, a person may have had cancer, but you never knew because they never said anything. I don't know if it's a
Yes.
stigma or what, but it was just such a mind shock to me. So if initially, if I would have known, because you felt like, well, dog, that person went through all of this and I wasn't even there. You feel like you could have been there for them. But again, a lot of people have to deal with it on their own. It's a lot.
Yes. And how has your faith in God, how has your religion helped you through this?
That's been the backbone, because with God, everything is possible. And I know that I can get through it.
That mindset. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So I have a couple more questions for you, because I work a lot and you know that, and I have a child, and I will wake up at 9 p.m. and Tracy's like, hey, join me at midnight. So how are you working as a nurse, undergoing your treatments, having, time for family and friends, and also being a paparazzi, rock star right now? So how are you balancing all this? And please tell us about Tracy's Gems.
Okay. Well, currently I'm not working right now. I'm on long-term disability for my job. So that's been a very good help, because I can't imagine working and trying to juggle the whole treatment regimen. But I am a independent paparazzi consultant. I've been in the business now for about 3.5 years, and that's all paparazzi. It's been my place of solitude. It used to be, you don't go to when you're not going out like you used to and doing all these different things, you still have a desire to do something, to be connected to something. So when I joined paparazzi, it's like that was my thing. So basically, even when I go live at midnight, it's basically when the house is quiet, everything has been taken care of, and it's my time. So it's my time, and then I can share the joy with ladies. And it's so rewarding, or gentlemen, it's so rewarding when I get that call from a lady and she said, I had lunch with my dad today and he told me how pretty I was. And he's never told me that before. And they feel like it's because of the joy. He noticed the joy and he just complimented me. And it just goes to confirm when you hear about women or ladies that love that they're sometimes that they're seeking from, it's because they didn't get it from their father. And when I get adult women calling me, telling me these stories, it's just amazing to hear. And it makes me go even harder.
So how, if someone wanted to learn more about Tracys Gems, where would they get the information? Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It is www.tracysgems.com, and it's TRACYSGEMS.com.
Okay. And I have one more question for you. What are your closing remarks? Especially in the African American community, we have lower survival rates dealing with cancers, but especially breast cancer. Do you have any closing remarks to help others?
Yes, and let me just say this too. You can follow me on Facebook under Tracy Wilson Henderson or Tracys Gems on Facebook to find out more about my jewelry. That last piece is very, very important. We have to be our own advocate. And if you're not that person that can stand up for you, have that person, whether it's somebody in your family that's a medical person, or that person that you just know that they advocate for everything. Have that person with you by your side. You have to speak up. You have to ask questions. If you don't get an answer you like, you can go to a different doctor. You can seek a second opinion. Having medical insurance is pertinent. A lot of times we don't want to pay that premium, that we don't want that money taken out of our check. I don't know if it's still mandatory now that you do it. I know at one point that it was mandatory that you had health insurance, and a lot of people hated that, but I thought that was one of the best things that had ever happened, because people need that insurance. Because you get that diagnosis, you can't keep running back and forth to the emergency room. The emergency room doesn't treat breast cancer. They may treat you for a symptom that you're having, but there's a process that you have to go through. You have to see multiple doctors, and you need health insurance, and you need to be an advocate. You need to ask questions. You need to do research. Once you get your diagnosis, get a copy of that, your pathology report. Google what it says. When a doctor gives you a treatment plan, Google just to see if other patients have the same, for that same type of cancer, have that same treatment plan. There is so much, it's so much out there and the internet now on the web, that we should know what's going on with our body. When they tell us, and a lot of times that's why, and a lot of times the medical staff now, they know that you can get this information. So they're very careful about what they tell you in the treatment plan, because they know that same information that they're giving you, you can go out there and find. But you have to be that advocate for yourself. You have to follow up on your treatment. You can't put it off. And again, like I said, with a lot of stuff that we have, the type of cancer we get is very aggressive. It's very aggressive. And you may not think that you'll ever get diagnosed, but knowing that 1 in 8 women get diagnosed with breast cancer, you literally can be with 10 of your girlfriends. One of you, if not 2 of you, are going to get breast cancer. So in breast cancer, and they say 1 in 4 people will get cancer. So that's not even addressing the other kind of cancer. So you always hear about having that financial, that 6 months worth of income put up. That could be any crisis. A medical crisis is one of them. You have to save. You have to have that emergency fund, because again, nobody plans for this, and it is a very expensive. A cancer is a very expensive
Diagnosis,
very expensive. So you have to be prepared for that, whether you have insurance or not, because there's times when you can't work. You literally can't work, because again, like I said, you're laying in that bed in the fetal position. So you have to be prepared. We have to invest in our physical health, not just the beauty of it all, because with cancer, all of that's going to be taken away. But you got to invest in yourself and have that emergency fund set aside, and do your research. That is the main thing that I can tell. Also, ladies, get your mammograms. Go yearly and get your mammograms, but don't wait solely on the mammogram. I didn't find my lump on the mammogram. I found it, again, just by adjusting myself and feeling. Do your self mammograms. Do your self exams. They say buddy check 12 on the 12th of each month. Make that your day to do your exam, whether it's the first of each month. Find a day that works for you, that you can remember to do your self exams. It is very, very pertinent. Don't wait, because a lot of times by the time that lump comes, it's already advanced or it's already spread. And then that's a lot of times one of the issues when we have low survival rates, because it's already stage 3 or stage 4, and you can't procrastinate on your treatment. You have to get it started. Once you're told, do a little bit of research, but go ahead and get started on that treatment plan. And you have to put yourself first. A lot of times, but what about my job? What about my job? You can't play with cancer because it will take you out of here.
Yes, yes. Well, with this last mammogram, the one I had for 2021, I was a little bit concerned because this technician, it hurt it. And I was like, well, wow, my other my other mammograms, didn't squeeze it as tightly. They didn't press it down into a pancake. But this one, it was more concerning because she took more time. And in addition to taking more time, it was, more painful with the pressing so they can get a good view. But African Americans, we normally have denser or
Right.
just a lot of I don't want to use the word adipose, but we have a lot of tissue that this
Yes.
skin has to see through to see whatever nodules, etc., is there. So it was a blessing that everything came back negative. But for women who are saying that, oh, a mammogram hurts, I'd rather you endure that pain now, okay? Because surgery, and at least you have a fighting chance if you get the mammogram. And if you cannot afford the mammogram, there are usually some outreach programs with local hospitals and community
Yes.
centers that will provide free mammograms. So in the link below, we'll have information about how to do your breast self-examinations, free mammograms, some cancer support groups, and also information about Tracy's gyms. All right. So
Okay.
I sincerely appreciate you for taking the time to speak with me. And I love you. And I'm going to give you some air kisses, COVID-free kisses.
Yes. Thank you.